Today we're gonna be making something simple, delicious, tasty, and fast. We're gonna be making chicken agrodolce. What is agrodolce? Come back in about 30 seconds, I'll let you know. So today we're going to be doing chicken in an agrodolce style, or chicken agrodolce, or otherwise known as honey lemon chicken. And what does that mean? Well, it's just a term that's used in the culinary world to describe something that uses both a sour ingredient along with a sweet ingredient. And so today we're going to be doing a sour and a sweet chicken, or a honey lemon chicken. You can see there's not a lot to work with. In a good way, meaning there doesn't take a lot of ingredients, and they're pretty much, you can find them anywhere. I like to use the entire hind quarter, which is the drumstick and the thigh together. When you try this recipe, please try it with the dark meat. You can make it with the breast. And that's all I'll say. It really is a fantastic dish to make with the dark meat because of the way it's made and the fact that it stays so nice and juicy. We've got chicken, and this one serves 4 people. So those are pretty good portions for 4 people, right? Everybody gets a drumstick and a thigh, so it's 2 pieces. I got 2 onions. I've got my go-to garlic. Some lemon. I've got some thyme, fresh thyme. You can use dry thyme if you like, but I think the fresh thyme in this gives it a nice fragrance. We've got salt and pepper, cute little bear, full of honey. White wine, because I don't know how to cook without wine. Some extra virgin olive oil, and some fresh flat leaf Italian parsley that looks like a bouquet of flowers. I've got it in my little glass with some water, and that's the way I keep it nice and fresh for the entire week. Now that we've covered it all, let's get into it. We're gonna start with an onion. Do you have any idea how many onions I go through in a week? Onions, garlic, and a bunch of other stuff, but definitely those 2. I'm leaving the root end on because I want really long, thin slices, right? I can slice it this way too, but for this dish, I kind of like the way that it kind of looks. So I want this cut, if you will. So I'm going to be cutting against the grain, going this way. And this will just help keep the whole thing together without falling apart. So I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 of this size large onion. So I'm going to put the onion in here so I can take it over to the stove a bit better. Okay, put that there next to the garlic. They're cousins. Then the lemon, I am going to slice this one in half, and so far so good. I like this because it's really fast and it's clean and it's easy. So I think I'm going to use another half, because I want about 1/4 cup. Now, that's about 1/4 cup. So I used 1½ lemons. What am I gonna do with the rest of it? Well, I got 4 servings. So I'm gonna cut 4 slices of lemon. This is a good demonstration of what happens when your knives are not sharpened. You can check out the knife video when I beat everybody over the head about always using sharp knives. Okay, truth is, I've been using this so much over the last month or so or more that I can't seem to get a hold of my knife sharpening guy. He might be on vacation, at least I hope he's on vacation. So we've got our lemon slices now. I'll chop up the parsley in a bit, but what I want to show you is just a little trick. Don't have to do this, but yes, I put the chicken on the board because I'm not going to put anything else on this board after that, and it's going to get bleach and everything else after that. There's a space, right? because the drumstick tapers and then it bulges out again. When you brown this type of cut, you're not gonna get much browning here because it's gonna be lifted off from the pan. So one thing you can do is using the back part of your blade, not the front, but just the back, is give it a good little whack, cut that off, and now it sits flat, okay? So I'm just gonna use those two like that, and we'll keep the other two the other way, just so you get a different look, okay? Okay, follow me to the stove. So I got a saute pan here, and in the interim, we need to season the chicken. So here we go with our diamond kosher salt on one side, and then the pepper. And again, right, always season like rain, up high. And so I don't have to use my hands, so I can just keep them nice and clean. I didn't actually need to even trim any extra skin and fat off of this. Salt and pepper. Okay, now we're gonna put some of the extra virgin olive oil. And yes, I know there are those who will say you never brown or do this type of stuff with extra virgin olive oil because it's a waste and this and that. I like the extra virgin olive oil because I think it gives it more flavor. So, in goes the chicken. And I am going to try to get them in with the curvature of the pot or the pan, so that I use the most space possible. Now, these are pretty large pieces, obviously. Typically, when you're browning something, okay, you want adequate space in between each piece of whatever you're making. You want enough negative space, to borrow a term from graphic design, around the meat, because you want airflow. Things are too close together, you end up creating more steam, and then that prevents browning or prolongs browning, depending. I'm gonna leave it there, okay? I'm not touching it because I want it to brown, which means it needs as much contact with that hot pan and the oil as possible. If you keep flipping and you keep flipping, you're gonna be cooking it, but you're never gonna get that brown that you really need. And that's where the flavor comes from. That is much more brown, okay? That's better. And it smells, you know, really, it smells like fried chicken. That would be my definition of browned chicken. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the second side. Okay, so now we've got that going on. And I'm gonna leave those brown bits in there. The next thing to do is add the onion. Saute these onions. I haven't touched the heat. Okay, I still have it on high. You can reduce it a little bit if you're, freaking out a bit. And you see all that, the brown bits are coming up because of the moisture in the onion. Add a bit of salt at this stage. And the salt helps draw out some of that moisture. We are back at the point, we are browning onions. I repeat, we are browning onions. This will probably take, 8 to 10 minutes, depending. And then once we reach that stage, everything else happens pretty fast. You put the chicken back in and in the oven. So it's a very quick recipe, and it's actually a very healthy recipe. All right, for me, for this dish, that is what I'm looking for, okay? So now, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put in garlic. I'm gonna call that 2 tablespoons. Now, you can also slice the garlic if you want. Okay, now, white wine, dry. I'm going to call that about a cup. That's sort of like a nice mixture of onion and liquid. Okay, now at this point, lemon juice. And we're going to add the honey. And now, with the honey, you don't want to add too much because remember, it's agrodolce. It's sweet and sour. If you put too much honey, it's going to have chicken dessert. If you don't put enough, it'll be too sour. But that's better because when it's done, you can actually add a little bit of honey at the end, just like you can add a little bit more lemon juice at the end and correct for it. But overall, if you put too much honey in there, it's just too much. I'm gonna turn it around in there. Okay, now I'm gonna take some of this onion and I'm gonna put it on top. When that goes in the oven, should not crisp up, but brown, caramelize. You have the onion on top that's going to get browner and caramelized, and then the part underneath, which will stay soft and soften even more. At this point, I'll put the lemon, just one on each. Isn't that pretty already? I mean, that's like, you know, take a picture. And the thyme. Now, you can, if you're using thyme, you can chop it up and put it in with the garlic if you wanted, right? Or you can just sort of do this if you want to add just a little fragrance, right? Without too much. Because even though it's a very delicate looking herb, it's not very delicate. Okay, I got my oven preheated to 400 and I'm sticking the whole thing in there because it's an oven-safe pan. I gotta think of something to do now. Maybe I'll make another dish. Maybe I'll take a nap. How about a cocktail? Maybe I'll have a cocktail. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll get back to you. Oh, this looks perfect. Grab this too. Here is the chicken. Does that look good or does that look good? I think that looks good. You can smell everything, the wine, the lemon, the herbs, the honey. I have made a little side of rainbow chard. Just saute that up with some browned garlic and olive oil and some red pepper flakes. This makes a great side to this dish. Take one of these. Look at that steam coming out of there. And I'm gonna put one sort of like that. I go ahead and I get some fresh Italian flat leaf parsley and I just give it a coarse chop. I don't do a really fine one on this one. I like to do fine normally, but not on this one. You just kind of swirl that in at the last minute and it looks really nice with that green, gives it a little bit of pop, right? And see, I haven't done anything to this sauce. I haven't thickened it, I haven't put butter in there, there's no flour, no cornstarch, nothing. That all became thick through the natural gelatin that came out of the chicken, right? The juices, and a bit of the reduction that happens when you're cooking in there. And it's, you know, it's got a perfect texture. And there's your, what do you think? That's a nice dish. Very healthy, very light, very, very flavorful. And I think we need to see what's going on. I'm gonna cut into the thigh. Oh my God, the juice coming out of there. Oh yeah. Home run. Oh my God. Oh my God, so good. And it goes really well with the chard. I'm gonna have to show you how to do this chard together. Damn, that's a good dish. I gotta tell you, You got to make this, got to make it. Your family is going to love you. Your friends will love you. Everybody will love you. Your neighbor will love you. Whoever you make this for is going to love you. Please go ahead and subscribe and like me, because I like you. And if you could ring the bell, that would be very nice. And as always, I would love to hear from everybody, especially if you've made the dish, to see what you think. And if you've got a honey lemon chicken recipe that you want to share with me, share it with me. Right now, I'm just going to keep eating. This is also one of my wife's favorite dishes. She's in the next room. Shh.